And good morning. Welcome back to this portion of our Real Estate Radio Hour. You are always welcome to join in either by phone or by text. Our phone number is open for you at 651-989-9226, or send us a text at 81807. Speaking of the phones, Alan in St. Paul is first up here. Alan, you're on CCO. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, gentlemen. I was wondering, I just saw recently this week in the St. Paul paper they had the list of how much housing prices have gone up 20% in Ramsey County in the last year, 25% in Hennepin County in the last year. Are you at all concerned that we're racing upward too fast and we're going to wind up in the same situation with foreclosures and stuff down the road because it's going up too fast like before?
That's a great question, and I've been asked that before. I think it all has to do with what happens with lending and fraud. I mean, really, I don't want to blame the lenders, but if you make it super easy in that, I've lost 3 houses in the past and, I don't have a job and I'm getting a loan, that might be a problem, and that causes a problem. That's what kind of keeps the market. But what's happening with the market right now is I think people have realized that, hey, it's just at a point that it's time to buy. But there's not a lot of inventory out there. So when that happens, they start fighting against each other. I mean, I've had probably 3 or 4 listings that have had multiple offers on them, and then they sell more. I had an agent that just did an offer on a house, went $41,000 over asking price.
$41,000?
Came in 3rd place.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's some things that are out there that just, that some people see the value in. Maybe someone else didn't. But, it's crazy on some of them, but it's still not what it used to be, whereas everyone was just buying a house, it's still, and Mona chime in here, but I mean, getting a loan is still, I mean, you guys are checking everything.
Yeah, but not with values. It's not just lending. It's the changes that have been made to USPAP for the appraisals. And so I'm sure you've seen a lot.
Explain that.
Well, USPAP they've put in a bunch of different guidelines now on how you rate a home and how you appraise a home. So the days before the housing market bubble burst, where you could call your appraiser and say, hey, I need $20,000 to make this work. You got to figure it out. Okay, I'm going to go, 6 miles down the road into a totally different neighborhood and pick another house. They can't do that anymore. There's more stringent guidelines on the appraisers.
Right, and I've seen that, where we've had, it's almost that the appraisals haven't really caught up with where the market's at when it kind of moves like that. And I think the appraisers are a lot more, they're being watched over and, scrutinized so much that they can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was kind of the perfect storm is that, hey, it's a great loan, hey, we can kind of make this work for you. And you know what? I'm buying and everything is going crazy and we're going to make lots of money,
right.
And people are getting in with nothing down. You have to put money down now, to be able to make it happen. But, with that property value, kind of brought something up in my head is that I got a lot of calls this week on the assessed value.
Everybody got stuff in the mail.
Everyone got their mail, and it's interesting, I think what were you saying in Eden Prairie? That you guys
I had seen in years past property values going down and the taxes going up.
Right.
And this time, property values went down some more, but so did the taxes.
Yeah, which is great. Now, a lot of places, the property values went down and the taxes went up.
I know. I've seen that.
And some people's property values went up, and taxes kind of stayed the same. So it's kind of all over the board. And I think regardless of what county you were in, I think that kind of hit everyone. I've got rental properties in a bunch of different counties, and we kind of saw kind of the same thing kind of across the board, one or the other. But it was just kind of interesting. Next week, I'm going to be out of town, going to be in Arizona, and Andy's still going to be in Florida. But Andy's actually going to call in with.
Does that mean I have to be the real estate expert?
You're the real estate expert.
Wow.
But we do have a couple agents with our team, Lauren Peterson, Tommy Anderson, that are going to be in, and they're going to talk about that whole assessed value versus market value versus appraised value. They're really different.
But we've got to get some clarity on that.
You bet.
I don't know.
Yeah, right. Well, and
do
that's
most
the
people?
Thing.
Most people don't understand that whole.
They don't. I mean, you'll see a lot of times that, hey, you know what? The assessed value is only $240. Why are you trying to get $270 for it?
Yeah.
I'm only going to do that. Well, and then someone, had a client that had an appraisal that came in, and I know I could sell his house for $375 today, but the appraisal, with what was around the house, it only came in at $235. So I mean, it's a tough thing, to be able to do that. So it's interesting. So
now, what kind of? I didn't ask you this before you sat down, but what kind of a week did you have, real estate wise, personally? Now, I mean, as far as has it been a positive, kind of flat? What would you be on? I didn't say I was going to tell you. I was going to ask.
No,
you.
I know. The weeks kind of go into each other.
Yeah, they do. I know.
Yeah, this week is
how was the month?
It's been interesting.
How's the month?
Let's just
is that better?
Month's been great. Okay. But I'll tell you what you do, and I think a lot of people don't realize this. Once it sells, and then you have your inspection, there's a lot of other things that kind of happen in the meantime that you have to kind of deal with. We've had a lot, and if you can say this, Mona, that we've seen is that people come in with one type of financing and change it to another type of financing midway through. I mean, sometimes even up to I got a closing next week and they switch the financing on us.
What do you have to do in that case?
Addendums.
Pray.
And pray.
No, yeah, you do have to do addendums, but it's not always because that you can't qualify for one thing, but maybe there's some weird things that have happened, and hey, rather than doing that, let's just go to this program and we can kind of get past that. Do you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, when an issue arises in any of the scenarios that we're running through with clients, we go to immediate fix mode. And so sometimes there will be something, bank statements have to be updated and pay stubs have to be updated, and there may be something that a client didn't communicate on, and so we have to fix that.
Right.
And so that
but
might
sometimes
mean
it means changing different ways and going.
Yep.
So let's example maybe qualifying ratios maybe on conventional financing are different on FHA and VA.
Yep.
So maybe that one little deal they didn't tell you about, or that thing they co-signed on with someone else, put them out of that range, and you'd have to do a lot of work.
Yep.
Maybe more work to that. So you went to FHA or VA.
Yeah. And a lot of times, and I think this is probably the case in most of the time when you're switching financing, is that the borrower just didn't quite know what their 2-year history was on their income. If they have had a job change in the last year and they're making a bonus here and they didn't make a bonus somewhere else, that all can affect your debt to income ratio. It may flip you into FHA or VA if you qualify.
Well, and the thing is, Danny, too, that is that, that might just be one part of the transaction.
Yeah.
We're kind of going back to the 90s where people sold their house before they had to buy another one. And then once they bought that one, then they had to buy one. When we were going through the thing, hey, you could qualify, we'll buy it non-contingent. So you didn't have to worry about that. One falls apart. All three,
so it's
four
a domino thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's the scary part.
We have to take a break. I urge our listeners, if you have a real estate question, by all means, you can join in 651-989-9226, 651-989-9226, or you may send a text message if you like. 81807, 81807. Back with more of the Real Estate Radio Hour here on 830 WCCO.